The following is a Comfortably Zoned Radio Network production.
Hey, we're back. I've got the three Meshuggahs, myself, Al Blumkin, and Peter Golenbock. It is officially Golenbock University, and happy to have you guys both.
Thank you.
Thanks so much, Ralph. Hey.
Yeah, you had an event today with the Tampa Rays that you
Tampa Bay Rays, not the Tampa Rays, the Tampa Bay Rays. They play in St. Petersburg. They don't play in Tampa.
Well, I was
Tampa
watching
Bay
this,
Rays.
talking about that. You know how confused I've been for 2 years over this.
Well, it's like the Oakland. It would be like the San Francisco Bay Bridge.
Or calling San Francisco Frisco. That's not right either.
Yeah.
But you know how
right.
easily I'm confused? I'm watching the Rays, and they had a throwback uniform day the other day, and all of a sudden it says Devil Rays, and I'm thinking,
right.
Oh my God, now I've got another thing to think about. This is also very confusing.
Well, we were the Devil Rays.
At least when you get new uniforms, they're not as ugly as Arizona's uniforms. So that's
the Tampa Bay Devil Rays uniforms were pretty ugly, actually. And they were the Devil Rays. They were supposed to be the Stingrays. We were supposed to be the Tampa Bay Stingrays, which would have really been very, very exciting. But at the point when the team, came into existence, the Stingray logo was owned by a team in Hawaii. And the Hawaiian team wanted $100,000 from Vince Namoli for the use of their name. And the cheap SOB wouldn't spend it. So instead of calling the team the Stingrays, which would have been so exciting, they called this team the Devil Rays. Now, for those of you who know anything about fish, the Devil Ray is the largest of all the rays. It is huge. But also, for the born-again Christians of the world, calling the team the Devil Rays was not the greatest idea in the world. So there was a lot of approbation from the religious quarters about calling the team that. Never mind the fact that for the most of the time they existed, they were a terrible ball club. But the combination was not particularly good.
But they went about the idea of change very quickly in response to that. How about teams like the Redskins and the Indians with their logo and what have you? How does it take them this long to change in a politically correct society that we live in?
Well, the Indians are getting rid of Wahoo, if they haven't already.
Oh, they're getting rid of the Wahoo on the jersey, that sort of step and fetch it looking Indian. But the answer is it's because the teams aren't owned by Indians. They're owned by basically rich white people. And they don't care.
Else, they're not really getting rid of it. They have a nostalgia thing. They're selling the Wahoo Indian all over their gift shops and all over the internet on T-shirts and what have you. I'll never give up my logo, blah, blah, blah.
Oh, sure.
The Redskins were originally in Boston, and then the Redskins was an offshoot of the Braves nickname. Boston Braves.
And the Redskins too. Understand that the owner of the Boston Redskins that became the Washington Redskins,
George Marshall.
Was George?
Preston Marshall, yeah.
Preston Marshall, who was one of the stone-cold racist owners of the NFL. He was a guy who absolutely came out and said, I'm not going to have an African-American player playing on my team. So he's the fellow who came up with this Redskin idea. And he wasn't about to change that. And it took until, somewhere in the 60s.
1961 when they drafted Ernie Davis, and they traded his rights to the Browns for Bobby Mitchell. Of course, Davis they had leukemia and never played a game for the Cleveland Browns.
Precisely. So it's funny, too. I went to Dartmouth, and when I was there, we were the Dartmouth Indians. And at the beginning of the football game, this fellow would dress up as an Indian with feathers and spear and come running out in front of the cheerleaders, and we loved it. But again, the Dartmouth too was an Indian school. It was founded for the education of Indians. So I for one didn't see it as such a big deal, but apparently somebody else did, and they got rid of it. So Dartmouth is now the very big green. We are the big green.
Well,
St. John's was the Redmen for years until they
thing.
changed it, to Red Storm a bunch of years ago.
Yeah, well, change is good sometimes.
Yeah.
Can't complain about that. Peter, tell us about your fantasy draft when you went back to New York a couple of weeks ago. Mm-hmm. How did you do, and how's the first week and a half, 2 weeks of the season going for you from a fantasy standpoint?
Well, I started the season with Carlos Correa at $34. I kept him. I had Tim Beckham. I kept him at $3. And I kept the Oakland third baseman, Matt Chapman. I had him.
Oh, nice move. You're happy with him.
Happy with him. And in the pitching spot, I had Chris Sale at $31. And I had Joe Kelly at a $1. And I had Craig Kimbrell for $24. So that's what I started with. When we filled out the team, my partner George Philippides and I, we focused more on the hitting than on the pitching. We got Evan Gaddis for, what did we pay for him? $18. He's with Houston. He's a catcher. The other catcher is James McCann. Actually, I had kept him, come to think of it, for $7. He's with Detroit. I got Hanley Ramirez for $9, which was the steal of the deal. I didn't understand why everybody else stopped bidding at $9. I thought he should have been worth $20. I got Devon Travis for $10. Devon right now is hitting about $1.20. And in the outfield, I got Curtis Granderson for $5. Got George Springer for $28. He's with Houston.
I've got him. He's terrific with Houston. Yes.
Jake Maresnik of Houston I got for $3. Derek Fisher of Houston I got for $1. Ryan Rua of Texas I got for $1. And God forbid, he's playing every single day. It's absolutely fabulous. And my utility guy is Matt Olson, the first baseman from Oakland, who I got for $20. So I'll tell you what, the first week of the season, we were absolutely dynamite. The team was in first place by 4 or 5 points. We filled out the rest of the pitching. We got Betances for 6, and incredibly, he's really stinking up the joint. We got Taylor Rogers and Trevor Hildenberger for $1 and $3. I got Tanaka, Masahiro Tanaka of the Yankees for $20. He's my second star to go along with Sale. I got Mike Fiers, Detroit pitcher, for $2.
Yankees caught them the other night.
Oh, they sure did. And I just picked up Bertolo Colon in the grab bag to be my 4th starter. So what I have found over the years is you can find starters who aren't terrible from your free agent drafts during the season. You cannot find hitters. If you look at the hitters and see who's available to be drafted, you find almost nobody.
Who's the lucky one that wound up with Sonny Gray?
Somebody got him, got him for $15.
He's not worth a nickel.
He's going to come around.
He sucks.
Sonny Gray is terrific.
He sucks. I didn't like him from when the Yankees got him last year, and I don't like him now. There's no reason. I've seen nothing to change my mind yet about him yet.
That's the beauty of this game. If you buy him for $15 and he's worth, $5, you lose. If you buy him for 15 and he's worth 15, then it's okay. And for some reason, if you buy him for 15 and he's worth 25, you come out way ahead. Which is,
there's no pitcher on Cincinnati that's even worth 10 cents.
Yeah, well, I mean,
they're 2-13. The Reds.
The funny thing about the Rays team, if you look at what those players are worth, I don't think, Kiermaier was bought for 17 because he can steal some bases. But, the Rays got rid of every decent hitting person they had. They got rid of Logan Morrison. They got rid of Evan Longoria. They got rid of poor Souza, who got 30 home runs last year. They traded away over 100 home runs for a bunch of guys who aren't worth, in the rotisserie at any rate, who aren't worth $10.
Sounds like the Marlins.
Well,
no, it sounds like the A's.
Yeah,
Denard Span isn't worth $10. He has stopped stealing bases. Matt Duffy right now is not hitting. He's not worth $10. And C.J. Cron, I think, is hitting about 145. Right now, looking at the Rays, it's hard to imagine that they're going to win 50 games.
One of the days that the Marlins played the Mets down during the week, they were outdrawn by the Double-A Jacksonville team.
Yeah, well, I mean, I don't understand. I do not understand some of these teams. The owner, Luria, who seems to be a con artist, Luria went and got Miami to spend $500 million for the other half of the cost of that magnificent stadium, and upon doing that, managed then to trade away the best players on the team, including Stanton and the other two starting outfielders.
Peter, there's a story I read about how the Marlins are trying to claim that they're incorporated in the British Virgin Islands to avoid a lawsuit. It was in the Miami paper the other day.
Wow.
Because apparently when Luria sold to the current ownership, at a certain point, part of the sales of the profits of the sale was supposed to go to the state of Florida or the city of Miami.
Makes sense.
So they're in federal court trying to get the money. The governmental agencies trying to get the money, and the Marlins are claiming because one of the current owners is who has about 5% of the team is a resident of the British Virgin Islands or someplace like that, that they're incorporated there.
I don't know. I think they ought to call Bob Mueller, if you ask me.
Yeah.
Oh, my goodness. That's unbelievable. I mean, with the Rays at any rate, you keep hearing, the reason we don't have good players is because our owner can't afford good players. So my question is, if the owner can't afford good players, what's he doing owning a baseball team? He's about to make an extra $50 million on the new radio and TV contract. He's about to make another $25 million on the new food contract with the new food provider at the stadium. It's really
and every day the price of a franchise goes up. So
without a doubt,
kids are rich.
They complain about the pirate ownership like that, but apparently so far this year the getting rid of Cole and McCutcheon seems to be working out.
Yeah, the Pirates are like 12-4 or something.
11-4, yeah, but beyond my wildest dreams.
I know.
And as a Met fan, the Mets are off to their fastest start almost.
Yeah, they played in really horrible weather here today. And Flores, game-winning home run with 2 out in the 9th inning. And I'm sure everybody was happy, including the Brewer players and the umpires, just to be able to get off the field.
I can imagine.
And there were 6 games today that were postponed, including Yankee Tiger doubleheader, one of which was a makeup from yesterday.
That's right.
So
meanwhile, the Red Sox won today 3-1.
Yeah.
Sale pitched beautifully. My boy Sale pitched beautifully. My reliever got the save today, Kimbrel, so brought me up from 4th place to 3rd place for an extra 2 or 3 points. I'll tell you.
The Oriole pitching leaves a lot to be desired.
It does.
Yeah.
It does.
They brought out Cobb in yesterday. He couldn't get a man out.
Well, Cobb is
Started the
funny.
game
Cobb will be okay.
Yeah.
But I just couldn't help but thinking that whoever owned Cobb had to eat, eight runs, 7 earned, and something like 3 in the third. So that's the hard
I'll tell you
part.
another Tampa Bay pitcher who sucks is
Archer.
Is Snell.
Snell, I'm telling you what. You mark my words, in 2 or 3 years, Snell is going to be a superstar. That kid has got more stuff. He's got a curveball. He throws the same way Sandy Koufax used to throw his curveball, from 12 o'clock to 6 o'clock. It's a magnificent thing to see. What he doesn't have is confidence. And the other thing he doesn't have is experience. The kid is young. The same way Koufax was young and was wild, and it took him 5 or 6 years before he got his feet on the ground. Snell's going to be the same way.
What about Archer? You think he'll ever be a winning pitcher?
I don't think Archer will ever be a winning pitcher. I don't know what's the matter with this guy. But he's fabulous in terms of getting strike 2, but for some reason the kid can't get strike 3. And so he'll pitch, and the batters will foul off 8 or 9 or 10 pitches, and eventually you throw a meatball and the guy will whack it. And he just can't, if you can't throw strike 3 past the hitter, you're in for a long day.
Yeah, plus you're eating up balls pitched. And
right.
So you're not
He'll throw 100 pitches. He'll throw 100 pitches and go 5 innings.
Right.
It's just infuriating. Infuriating. It is.
You have a great defensive center fielder in Kiemeyer.
He got hurt today. He gets hurt every third week. If Kiermaier would stay on the field, he'd be worth his $17. He slid into second base, and he always slides in head first, and jammed his thumb. So he'll be out for a week or 2. And they got this kid, Johnny Fields, who's not a major leaguer. This kid has struggled for 8 years to get to the majors, and he's finally there, and they played him in center field today. But he isn't close to the skill that Kiermaier has. And unless Kiermaier's in center field, the guy in left field, who is Malox Smith, and the guy in right field, Carlos, is it Gomez? Anyhow, these 2 guys are C- outfielders. Without Kiermaier, they don't have an outfield defense. It's terrible. Terrible.
Well, I heard talk today that because the Mets need a catcher so badly, they do.
You got one of our old catchers. You got Lobaton.
Oh my God, he was terrible today. I watched him.
You got Lobaton.
Did you like him?
No.
Oh yeah, he sucked.
They were all playing with the face masks today. It was brutal up here today.
Well. Oh yeah. So maybe the weather pattern is skewing the way the start of the season has taken place. You can't get real baseball if it's 40 degrees. How the hell you can't get loose?
Look, this is an article. This is an argument they've been making since 1901. You start the season in April, this is what you get. You get snow outs, you get rain outs, you get nice days, you get rain outs and snow outs.
Yeah, but they used to start the season April 14th, and now they start the season
March 28th. Yeah.
28th.
I figured out that, between the teams in the West Coast, the teams in Texas, Arizona, Florida, and a couple of teams up north with domes, you can schedule for a couple of weeks without having to play in places like Minnesota.
That's right.
And one of my friends has told me he's waiting for a Rockies Twins World Series in late October when they'll take a month to finish.
Hey, they've got rain out double headers in April.
Yeah, they were supposed to play a separate admission doubleheader in Detroit today. Because the Yankees were rained out yesterday, and they said when they rescheduled there was a 90% chance of rain, which turned out to be 100%, and so now they have to make up 2, and it's a one trip situation, so they have to find open dates.
Yeah, they bitch and moan about the Trop. Why do you play in the dome? well, we play in the dome because every time it rains, we get to play the game. Every time it's thunders and lightnings, we get to play the game. Every time it's 110 degrees heat out there, we get to play the game. I mean, these New Yorkers who come down and bitch about the dome, I just want to punch them.
Okay.
Go
we had the
home and keep your mouth shut.
We had the 1999 Sabre Convention in Phoenix, and we had a game on the Friday night, and the dome was closed there, and it was very comfortable. And some of us went out the Monday morning to take a tour of the place with the dome open, and it was like 105 degrees at 10 o'clock in the morning.
Well, what do you expect?
This is what it is.
Phoenix, Arizona's in the middle of the friggin' desert, for crying out.
Yeah, I know. If they didn't have a cover, their attendance would stink in the summertime.
Well, people would die.
Yeah.
The attendance stinking.
Yeah.
People would die, literally.
Yeah.
Well, how about Houston with before the Astrodome? Houston
was
just...
when I talked to Dick Rote in 1985, Dick Rote never played in the minors. So I asked him what was the worst ballpark you ever played in. He said nothing was close to the old Colt Stadium in Houston that they used the first 3 years.
That's right.
He said we were lucky. We got out of here. We got out of there, after 3 games. He said general manager should threaten players to send them there. Send players there. It was like Green Bay and football before Lombardi came there.
Last year, the Rays put the season ticket holders on a plane, and we flew down to Miami for a ball game. They bussed us to the game, and we sat and watched the game. They bussed us back to the plane and flew us home again. It was delightful. But I'll tell you, that ballpark is stunning, absolutely stunning. It's got a retractable roof, and that night the roof was down, and we didn't care. I mean, it was just a marvelous, marvelous place to watch a ball game. So, don't give me this crap about, whether it's a dome or not a dome. These facilities are magnificent.
Yeah, but if you have a dome in Minnesota, you get the games played.
Yeah, you get to play the games.
They had a whole series wiped out this weekend, and they're lucky because it was the White Sox, and it's in division.
Well, the thing about it is they didn't want to spend the money to put the dome up.
No.
And it was Jackie Robinson's week. And
everybody was number 42 today. Everybody was number 42 today.
That happened on that day. That's disgraceful.
Yeah.
Really.
Well, the nice thing about Jackie Robinson Day, for those players who don't know any better, is that if you really screw up, chances are most of the people in the stands won't know who did it because they're all wearing the same number.
That's right. Yeah. But conversely, if you hit a game-winning home run
that's right, they might not know who you are either. That's true.
Yeah, that's
right. Wilmer Flores hit one today.
He certainly
with the out in the ninth inning.
Yep.
And that's the win.
That was as clutch as it gets.
Yep.
They're playing very well for the most part.
You're not kidding. You are not kidding. Yep. Oh, no. And Familia's just doing, although he's a two-packer, 2 packs of cigarettes, he scared me a little today. He got like 7 saves already, and it's not even the end of April.
Yeah, and Yankee fans are going crazy because the teams with the 2 best records in baseball, the two teams that they hate the most, the Red Sox and the Mets.
Huh. Yeah, I wonder if the Yankees are more worried about the Red Sox fast start than they are worried about their own slow start.
They better worry about their starting pitching because it hasn't been very good.
If I know the way these teams work, what they say to themselves is we have another 150 games to go.
Yeah.
So it's a long season. So
okay.
We've
got another
worried.
17 years to be doing this show. So let's wrap her up and make Wendy happy. How about that?
Well, make Wendy happy is right. Anyhow, everybody have a wonderful week.
You too.
Absolutely right. I hope your rotisserie teams are very, very successful this year. Sale didn't get the win today. Cost me first place when they only pitched him 5 and he didn't get the win. Humbry got the win today, which really pissed me off, but such is life in the fast lane.
Absolutely.
Yep.
Thank you,
All
gentlemen.
right, gentlemen.
We'll be back next time, and Al, close it out with the way you do it.
Okay, next week, same bad time, same bad channel.
Love hearing it. Adios, guys.
Good night.
Thanks for listening, everybody.
Bye-bye.